My name is Isabel. I am 25 years old. I come from Madrid, Spain. I speak Spanish at home and at work. In school, I studied English, but I did not speak it much. I could read and write, but real conversation was hard for me. I wanted to learn more. I wanted to speak better. I work in a small office in Madrid. I do the same work every day. I sit at my desk. I type on my computer. I answer emails. I help customers. My life is quiet. I don't travel much. But I wanted to try something new. I wanted to go to a place where people speak English. I wanted to listen, talk, and learn. Looked online for English programs. I found one in San Francisco. The course was for 2 weeks. The classes were for beginners. It was not very expensive. The school looked small, but nice. I read good reviews. I was nervous, but I wanted to go. I asked my boss for time off. I saved money. I bought a ticket. I was ready. I flew to San Francisco on a Sunday. The flight was long. I did not sleep much. I watched 2 movies. I looked out the window. I saw clouds and sky. When we landed, I felt tired but excited. This was my first time in the United States. Everything looked big and fast. I took a deep breath. My English journey was starting. I stayed with a woman named Helen. She was a friend of my teacher. She lived near the English school. Her house was small and clean. It had white walls and many green plants. Helen was kind. She showed me my room. She gave me tea. She spoke slowly. I could understand most of her words. On my first full day, I woke up early. The sun was out. I opened the window. The street was quiet. I got ready. I put on jeans and a blue shirt. I took my small bag. I left the house and started to walk. I wanted to explore the city. I also wanted to try speaking English by myself. I walked past shops, trees, and cars. I saw a man with a dog. I saw 2 girls on bikes. Everyone looked busy. I heard English all around me. I tried to listen. I understood some words, but many people spoke fast. I felt shy. I did not speak. I just walked. After some time, I felt hungry. I looked at my phone. It was almost 12. I wanted to eat. I looked across the street and saw a small diner. The sign said, "Open." The windows were clean. Inside, I saw people eating. Some were talking. Some were drinking coffee. It looked nice. I walked to the door and went inside. A bell rang when I opened the door. A man stood behind the counter. He smiled. I smiled back. I did not say anything. I looked around. There was a table near the window. I walked over and sat down. A woman came to my table. She gave me a menu. She said, "Hello, I'll be right back." Then she walked away. I looked at the menu. It was not very long. I saw a few easy words. I saw grilled cheese. I knew cheese. I liked cheese. I also saw soup of the day, but I did not know what kind of soup. I decided to order the grilled cheese. It looked simple and safe. The woman came back. She smiled and asked, "Ready to order?" I smiled too. I said, "Yes." "Grilled cheese, please?" She wrote it down. Then she asked, "Would you like a refill?" I looked at her. I did not understand. I heard refill, but I did not know that word. I thought maybe she was asking about food. I still had my glass of water. It was full. I did not want more food. I was not sure what to say. I did not want to look stupid. I smiled and said, "No, thank you. I eat this morning." She looked at me. She did not say anything for a second. Then she smiled again. "All right," she said. I felt hot in my face. I looked down. My hands were on my lap. I felt nervous. I knew I said something wrong. I wanted to say more, but I did not know how. I waited in silence. I looked at the people around me. A man was reading a newspaper. A woman was laughing on the phone. Nobody looked at me, but I still felt shy. After a few minutes, the woman brought my food. The sandwich was hot. It smelled good. The cheese was soft. The bread was brown. I took a bite. It was simple, but nice. I ate slowly. I looked out the window. I tried to relax. Then the woman came back to my table. She smiled. "How's the sandwich?" she asked. I said, "It is good. Thank you." She smiled again. "You are not from here, right?" I shook my head. "No," I said. "I come from Spain." She nodded. "Your English is good," she said. "But just so you know, refill means more drink. If your water is low, we bring more." I laughed a little. My face turned red again. "Oh," I said. "I did not know. Thank you." She laughed too. "No problem. That was cute. You are learning. It's okay." Smiled. I felt better. I looked at my glass. It was half full now. I looked up. "Can I have refill?" asked. She gave me a big smile. "Of course," she said. She brought me more water. Said, "Thank you again." She said, "You are welcome. Enjoy your meal." After I finished my food, I paid the bill. I left a small tip. I walked to the door. The bell rang again. The woman waved. "Have a great day," she said. Smiled and said, "You too." Outside, the sun was still bright. I walked slowly back to Helen's house. I looked at the sky. I looked at the people. I felt happy. I made a mistake, but I also learned something new. Now I knew what refill means, and I was not so afraid anymore. That night, I told Helen about the diner. She laughed. "That's a good story," she said. "Now you will always remember that word." She was right. I will never forget it. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. The next morning, I woke up early. I opened the window and looked outside. The sun was shining. The sky was blue. I could hear birds near the tree. I felt fresh and ready for the day. I got dressed and packed my small bag. I put my phone, notebook, and water bottle inside. I said goodbye to Helen. She smiled and said, "Have a nice day." I walked to the English school. It was not far. It took only 10 minutes. The school building was white. It had big windows and green plants near the door. I walked in. The woman at the desk smiled at me. "Good morning," she said. I smiled back. "Good morning," I answered. I was nervous but excited. There were 7 other students in my class. One girl was from Japan. A boy came from Brazil. Another girl was from Germany. Everyone spoke a different first language, but we all came to learn English. The teacher's name was Emily. She was kind and patient. She smiled a lot. Emily spoke slowly. She used easy words. She asked us to say our names and where we came from. When it was my turn, I said, "My name is Isabel. I am from Spain," she said. "Welcome, Isabel." That made me feel calm. We learned greetings, numbers, and short sentences. We also practiced speaking with a partner. At first, I was shy. I was afraid to make a mistake. But Emily said, "It's okay to make mistakes. That is how we learn." I liked that. It made me feel better. After class, we all had lunch together. I sat with the girl from Japan. Her name was Yuki. She was also shy, but she smiled at me. I smiled back. We spoke a little. Our English was simple, but we understood each other. It felt good. Later, I walked around the neighborhood. I saw a park with trees and benches. I saw a man walking his dog. I also saw a bookshop, but I did not go in. I was still thinking about the word refill. It stayed in my head. I smiled when I thought of it. That evening, I came home and helped Helen with dinner. We made pasta and salad. She asked me about my class. I told her about the students, the teacher, and my new friend Yuki. I also told her about our speaking practice. "You are doing very well," Helen said. Her kind words made me happy. The next few days were good. I went to class every morning. We learned new words. We listened to short stories. We asked and answered questions. I tried to speak more. I tried to be brave. It was not easy, but I felt stronger each day, One day after class, I wanted to try something new. I wanted to eat at a different place. I walked for some time and saw a new diner. It had a red door and small lights in the window. I liked how it looked. I went inside. The man at the counter smiled. "Table for one?" he asked. I said, "Yes, please." He gave me a menu. I sat down and read it. There were many things I did not know. I saw tuna melt, hash browns, and onion rings. I did not know what to choose. A waiter came to my table. He was tall with brown hair. He smiled and said, "Hi, how are you today?" I answered, "I'm good, thank you." Then he asked, "Can I get you something to drink?" I said, "Just water, please." He brought me the water and gave me more time. I looked at the menu again. I chose a sandwich. When the waiter came back, I pointed to the item. "I want this," I said. He said, "Great choice," and walked away. While I waited, I listened to the people around me. A woman was telling a story. A man was laughing. A child was eating fries. The place felt warm and busy. I liked it. Then something strange happened. A woman at the next table looked at me and smiled. She said, "I like your accent. Where are you from?" I smiled and said, "I am from Spain." She said, "Your English is very good." I said, "Thank you. I try my best." Her kind words made me feel brave. I wanted to say more. We talked for a few minutes. She said she visited Spain once. She liked the food and the sea. I told her I lived near a market and went there on weekends. We laughed together. It felt nice. My food came soon. The sandwich looked big. I took a bite. It was good. I ate slowly and enjoyed the moment. I felt proud. I was alone in a big city. I was speaking English. I was learning every day. After I finished, the waiter came back. He asked, "Would you like a refill?" I knew that word now. I smiled and said, "Yes, please." He smiled and took my glass. I watched him walk to the counter. He filled the glass with water and came back. "There you go," he said. I smiled again. "Thank you," he said. "You're welcome." He looked at me and said, "You speak English very well." I felt my face turn red, but I was happy. "Thank you," I said. I learned little by little. I paid the bill and stood up. I walked to the door. The waiter said, "Have a great day." I turned and said, "You too." I walked outside. The sun was warm. The wind was soft. I felt light. I thought about the day. I made new friends. I tried new food. I used English in a real place. I answered questions. I smiled and talked. I did not stay silent. That was a big step for me. When I got home, Helen was in the kitchen. She was making tea. I told her everything. She smiled and gave me a cup. "You are brave," she said. "Many people are too scared to try." I said, "It's hard, but I want to learn." We sat together in the quiet room. I drank my tea and looked at the light from the window. I thought about tomorrow. I would go to class again. I would see Yuki and Emily. I would speak more. I would learn more. And next time someone said refill, I would smile and say, "Yes, please." On my last morning in San Francisco, I woke up very early. The room was quiet. The sun was not up yet. I sat on the bed and looked at my suitcase. It was almost full. I had one more day in this city. I felt sad and happy at the same time. I went to the window and opened it. The air was cool. I saw a few lights on the street. It was still dark. I took a deep breath. I thought about my first day here. I was scared. I was shy. I was afraid to speak. But now, I felt a little different. I packed my last few things and walked to the kitchen. Helen was already there. She was making tea and toast. She looked at me and smiled. "Morning, Isabel," she said. "Today is your last day." I smiled back. "Yes," I said. "It went so fast." She gave me tea and said, "You did great. I'm proud of you." We sat at the small table. The dog Oliver was near my feet. He looked sleepy. I touched his head. I drank my tea slowly. Helen asked me about my favorite part of the trip. I told her about my class, the teacher, the other students, and the diner. She laughed when I told her the refill story again. "You will never forget that word now," she said. I smiled and said, "Never." After breakfast, I walked to school for the last time. The sky was clear now. The sun was up. I walked slowly. I looked at the trees, the cars, and the people on the street. I knew I would miss this city. At school, Emily greeted me with a big smile. "Isabel, good morning. Ready for your last class?" I said yes, but I felt a little sad. I liked her class. I liked her kind voice and her easy words. She gave me a small paper. It had my name on it. It said, "I finished the course." I felt proud. The other students also got their papers. We took a group photo. We all smiled. I stood next to Yuki. She gave me a small hug. "You are a good friend," she said. I said, "You too." We did not say many words, but we understood each other. After class, I had a few hours before I had to leave for the airport. I decided to visit the diner again. I wanted to eat one last meal in that place. I wanted to see the woman who helped me on my first day. I walked through the streets of San Francisco. It was busy, but I felt calm. I passed the coffee shop, the bus stop, and the small store with fruit outside. Then I turned the corner and saw the diner. The red sign was still there. The windows were clean. The door was open. I walked inside. The small bell rang again. I smiled. The same woman was behind the counter. She looked up and saw me. Her eyes got big. "You?" she said. "You came back." I laughed. "Yes, I said. I leave today, but I wanted to come here one more time. She walked over to me. Same seat? She asked. I said yes. I sat near the window again. The sun came through the glass. The table felt warm. I looked around the room. It looked just like before, but I felt different now. She brought me water. I smiled and said, "Thank you." She smiled back. "No refill today?" she joked. I laughed. "Maybe later," I said. She laughed too. It felt good to talk like this. I looked at the menu. I ordered the same grilled cheese sandwich. She said, "Coming right up." I watched her walk away. I felt peaceful. I remembered my first time here. I was so scared to speak. I did not know what refill meant. I said something funny. But she did not laugh at me. She helped me. She was kind. That gave me courage. While I waited for the food, I thought about my 2 weeks here. I had learned many things. Not only in class, but also outside. I learned to ask questions. I learned to speak slowly. I learned to listen. I learned that mistakes are part of learning. And I learned that kind people make a big difference. The woman brought my sandwich. It was hot and fresh. It smelled the same as before. I took a bite. It was soft and warm. The cheese was just right. I ate slowly. I looked out the window. I saw people walking. I saw a child with an ice cream. I saw a man with a dog. The city was alive. When I finished my food, the woman came back. She looked at my glass and smiled. "Refill?" she asked. I smiled back. "Yes, please," I said. She laughed and took my glass. She came back with cold water. "You speak with more confidence now," she said. "I can see it." I felt shy, but I said, "Thank you. I learned a lot." I paid the bill and stood up. She walked with me to the door. "Good luck," she said. "And keep speaking English." I said, "Thank you for being kind." She gave me a small wave. I waved back. Outside, the sun was strong. The sky was light blue. I walked slowly back to Helen's house. I felt full. Not just from food, but from the whole trip. I felt happy, but I also felt a little sad. It was hard to leave. At Helen's house, my bag was ready. She helped me carry it to the car. We drove to the airport together. We didn't speak much. The music on the radio was soft. I looked out the window and said goodbye to the streets. At the airport, Helen gave me a hug. "Come back one day," she said. "You are always welcome." I said, "Thank you for everything." She smiled. "You were brave. You tried. That is what matters." Then she left. I went through security and found my gate. I sat down near the window. I looked at the big planes. I watched people walk by. I thought about my 2 weeks. I thought about the class, the city, the diner, and the refill. That small mistake on my first day was the start of something big. I made many mistakes, but I also made many memories. I met kind people. I learned real English. I used it every day. I spoke with waiters, teachers, and classmates. I asked questions. I answered with care. Now, I was going home, but I was not the same. I was more brave. I was more open. I was not perfect, but I was learning. And that was enough. I looked outside at the sky. A plane was taking off. I closed my eyes and smiled. I thought, sometimes one small word can change everything. And I knew I would never forget the word refill. My name is Emma. I am 23 years old. I live in California. I work at Walmart. I am a cashier. I stand for many hours each day. I speak to hundreds of people. I give change. I smile. And I help. But when I go home, I feel quiet and tired. Last year, I felt very bad. I did not feel strong. I did not feel happy. My body hurt after work. My legs were heavy. I had no energy. I always wanted to sit or sleep. I ate fast food and drank soda. I watched TV. I stopped talking to my friends. I felt lazy. I felt slow. I felt sad, but I did not know why. One night, I came home after work. My back hurt a lot. I sat on my bed and cried. I did not tell anyone. I just cried. I felt lost. I was only 22, but I felt much older. I thought, why do I feel like this? What is wrong with me? The next morning, I woke up early. It was Saturday. I did not have to go to work. I looked out the window. The sun was out. The sky was blue. The street was quiet. I felt something inside me say, "Go outside." I put on my old shoes and walked out. I did not go far. I just walked to the end of my street. Then I turned around. I walked for 10 minutes. My legs felt strange. My breath was fast, but I liked it. The air felt nice. I saw flowers. I saw people walking dogs. I smiled a little. The next day, I walked again. This time I went a little more. I walked past the store. I walked around the block. I saw a little boy riding a bike. He waved at me. I waved back. That small wave made me feel good. After 1 week, walking became my habit. I walked every day, sometimes in the morning, sometimes after work. I did not walk fast. I did not wear special clothes. I just walked. That's all. And I felt better. I started to sleep better. I ate better food. I drank more water. My legs did not hurt so much. My back felt stronger. I felt light. My head felt calm. I smiled more at work. I stopped drinking soda. I cooked food at home. I listened to music and danced in my kitchen. I also saw many new people during my walks. Some people said hello. Some people smiled. Some just looked away. One day, a woman said, "You walk every day. That's great." I laughed and said, "Yes, I need it." She smiled and said, "Me too." But not all people were nice. One man looked at me and said, "Why are you walking so much? Do you not have a car?" I did not answer. I just walked past him. His voice was not kind. I did not feel bad. I knew why I walked. I did not need to explain. Another day, a group of teens laughed when they saw me. I did not know why. Maybe it was my clothes. Maybe it was my old shoes. I did not care. I told myself, "Keep walking, Emma. Keep going." Each walk gave me something. Some days I saw dogs. Some days I saw birds. Some days I saw old people sitting on chairs outside. They looked at me and smiled. One old man said, "You are fast." I smiled and said, "Not really." He laughed and waved. One evening, I saw a woman cry on a bench. I wanted to say something, but I did not know her. I just gave her a smile. She looked up and gave me a small smile too. That was enough. Sometimes we do not need big words. A small smile can help. At Walmart, my team started to notice. "You look good, Emma," one girl said. "You are more happy these days," said another. I said, "I walk every day now. It helps me." Some of them said they wanted to try too. Now walking is my time. It is not for work. It is not for anyone else. It is for me. I do not use my phone when I walk. I do not check messages. I do not talk. I just walk. I listen to the birds. I look at the trees. I feel the wind. Even when I have a bad day at work, I walk. One day, a customer shouted at me. I almost cried, but I did not. I smiled and did my job. Then, when my shift ended, I walked home. The air was cool. The street was quiet. I looked up at the sky and felt okay again. I do not walk to lose weight. I do not walk to look pretty. I walk because it helps me stay calm. I walk because it gives me peace. I walk because it helps me feel strong. My legs carry me. My heart feels slow and steady. My mind is soft and quiet. Sometimes people do not understand. They say, "It's just walking." But walking changed my life. It gave me balance. It gave me light. It gave me joy. I remember a Sunday morning in spring. I was walking through the park. A boy ran past me with a kite. The kite flew high in the sky. His mother smiled and said, "He loves to run." I said, "I like to walk." We both laughed. She said, "Both are good." And I agreed. My family sees the change too. My sister said, "You talk more now." I said, "Maybe because I walk more." She laughed. But it was true. I have more energy. I feel more open. I feel more alive. Now, even on cold days, I walk. I wear a warm jacket. I walk slower, but I still go. I tell myself, "You are strong. You can walk." And I do. I always do. I do not wait for the weekend. I do not wait for the sun. I do not wait for someone to go with me. I go alone. I walk for 10 minutes, or 20, or 30. I do not check the time. I just move my feet and go. This habit started small. Just one walk. Just 10 minutes. But now it is part of my life. I do not want to stop. I will keep going, because walking makes me feel like me. When I feel sad, I walk. When I feel happy, I walk. When I do not know what to feel, I walk. And that is enough. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. 1. Morning. I woke up late. I felt slow and heavy. I looked outside. It was cloudy. I thought, should I skip my walk today? I sat on my bed for a few minutes. Then I said, no. I will feel better after the walk. I put on my shoes and stepped outside. The air was cold. The wind was soft. I walked slowly. I did not smile at first. My body was sleepy. But after 10 minutes, I felt better. My face felt fresh. My eyes opened more. I looked around. I saw trees move in the wind. I saw a boy throw bread to birds. I smiled. I felt alive again. That day, I learned something. A good day does not just happen. Sometimes you must start it. Sometimes a walk is the best start. Later that week, I saw a new man in the park. He walked with a small dog. The dog barked at me. The man laughed and said, "Sorry, she thinks she owns the park." I smiled. "She's cute," I said. "She walks with me every day," he said. "She keeps me going." I said, "Same for me." I walk to feel strong. He nodded. "Walking is the best," he said. I agreed. Now I see him often. We say hello. Sometimes we walk near each other. We don't talk much, but it feels nice. Some people pass you without a word, but some people make the walk feel warm. I like that. At work, days are busy. Some customers are kind. Some are not. One lady dropped her milk and blamed me. I stayed calm. I cleaned the floor and helped her. She left without saying thank you. I felt tired. But after work, I walked around the parking lot before going home. It helped. I looked at the sky. It was pink and blue. I thought. Some people are rude, but the sky is still beautiful. I smiled. Another time, I saw a child wave at me during my walk. I did not know her. She smiled and said, "You have pink shoes." I laughed. "Yes, I like them," I said. Her mother smiled too. It was a small talk, but I remembered it all day. One Sunday, I walked to a coffee shop. I bought a tea and sat outside. A man sat at the next table. He said, "You always walk past my house." I was surprised. "Oh, really?" said. He smiled. "You walk like you enjoy it." I said, "I do. It helps me feel calm." He said, "That's good. More people should walk." I nodded. Then we both drank our tea and looked at the street. Not every walk is perfect. Some days my legs feel tired. Some days my mind feels full. Some days the street is noisy. But I still go. I tell myself, just 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, I always feel better. So I keep going. One evening, I saw a boy fall off his bike. I ran to him. "Are you okay?" I asked. He was about 8 years old. His knee was red. He looked scared. I said, "Let's sit for a minute." I helped him sit on the grass. His mom came running. "Thank you," she said. I said, "He's brave." She smiled and held her son. That evening, I felt proud. My walk helped someone else. Walking is not just for my body. It is for my heart. It is for my peace. It is for small moments that bring joy, like the dog in the park, like the smile from a stranger, like the old lady who waters her flowers every morning. She always waves. I wave back. My friend Lucy also started walking. She works with me at Walmart. One day she asked, "Emma, how do you stay so calm?" I said, "I walk every day." She said, "Can I come with you?" I said yes. Now we walk together on Saturdays. We talk about work, family, and dreams. We laugh a lot. Walking with her feels different but also good. Sometimes I walk alone. Sometimes I walk with Lucy. Sometimes I walk with music. Sometimes in silence. Each walk is a little different, but each one helps me. I remember last summer. The days were very hot. My legs felt tired, but I walked in the evening. The air was cooler. The sky was orange. I saw children play with water. I saw a man sell ice cream. I bought one and sat on a bench. I felt like a child again. Simple moments make life sweet. Now my day feels strange if I do not walk. It is part of me, like food, like water, like sleep. I do not wait for a holiday. I do not wait for a friend. I do not wait for new shoes. I walk with what I have. Some people run. Some go to the gym. Some ride bikes. That's good. But for me, walking is enough. It is slow but strong. It is quiet but powerful. One time, My mother called and said, "You sound happy these days." I said, "Yes, Mom. I walk every day now." She said, "Maybe I should start too." I smiled. "Let's walk when I visit," I said. She laughed and said, "Deal." I feel proud of this habit. I started with pain. I started with sadness. I did not feel strong, but I said yes to one small thing, just walking. And now I feel new. I feel like myself. Each step is small, but it matters. One step becomes two. 2 steps become a block. A block becomes a street. A street becomes a path. A path becomes a habit. That habit becomes a better life. People ask me, "What do you do for health?" I smile and say, "I walk." One morning, I woke up early. It was still dark outside. The street was quiet. I made tea and sat near the window. I did not turn on the light. I just watched the sky. The stars were still there. I felt calm. I drank my tea slowly. After I finished my tea, I put on my shoes. I wore a sweater because the morning was cold. I stepped outside. I started walking. My steps were slow. My hands were cold, but I did not mind. I saw one car pass on the street. A woman was walking her dog. We smiled at each other. I did not say anything. I just kept walking. The street. Lights were still on. I liked that time. No noise, no cars, no people in a rush, just peace. I heard birds. I saw a man water his plants. He waved. I waved back. After 20 minutes, I went home. I took a warm shower. I made breakfast. I had eggs and toast. I felt ready for my day. That walk gave me energy. It gave me a good feeling. It gave me time to be quiet before work. Later at Walmart, I stood at my cashier station. I smiled at customers. Some smiled back, some didn't. One woman said, "You always look so calm." I smiled and said, "I walk every day. It helps." She laughed and said, "Maybe I should try that too." That day was busy. The store was full of people. Some children cried. One man was rude. He shouted because the line was slow. I said, "I'm sorry, sir. I'm doing my best." He said nothing and left. My heart beat fast for a minute, but I took a breath and smiled again. After work, I changed my shoes and went outside. I walked around the parking lot. Then I walked to the small park nearby. I did not think about work. I just walked and looked at the trees. I saw 3 birds on the ground. They were eating something. I stopped and watched them. I smiled. Some days my legs feel tired, but I walk anyway. I always say, "Just 10 minutes." After 10 minutes, I always want to go more. My feet keep moving. My mind gets clear. I feel better every time. One evening, I saw a boy run past me. He was maybe 7 or 8. He was laughing. A small dog ran behind him. The dog barked, but in a happy way. The boy's father walked slowly behind them. He smiled at me. I smiled too. That moment made my walk better. Another day, I saw an old man sitting outside his house. I saw him often. That day he said, "Good morning." I stopped. "Good morning," I said. He smiled and said, "You walk every day." I said, "Yes, it helps me feel strong." He nodded. "Keep walking," he said. "It keeps the heart young." I smiled and said, "Thank you." Sometimes I see people doing things during my walk. One woman puts out fresh flowers every morning. One man always cleans his car. One girl plays music from her phone and dances in her driveway. I like these things. They are small, but they feel special. One rainy day, I was walking with my hood up. The rain was light. The sky was gray. I saw a little girl in a yellow raincoat. She jumped in a puddle. Water flew up and she laughed. Her mother watched and smiled. I waved. She waved back. That day, the rain felt nice. It did not make me sad. It made me feel free. Walking also helped my eating. Before, I ate fast food a lot. I felt heavy and slow. But after I started walking, I wanted better food. Now, I cook simple meals. Rice, eggs, soup, vegetables. I eat fruit in the morning. I drink more water. I don't drink soda as much. My body feels light. I feel good when I move. I also sleep better now. I go to bed early. I wake up early. I do not wake up tired anymore. I open my eyes and feel ready. I do not need an alarm most days. My body knows it is time to walk. Walking helped my mind too. I feel more patient. I do not get angry fast. When someone is rude, I stay calm. When I feel sad, I do not hide. I go outside and walk. The walk helps. It always helps. One weekend, my friend Lucy and I walked together. She said, "I used to feel tired all the time." I said, "Same." Walking helped me so much. She smiled and said, "I'm glad we do this." I said, "Me too." We walked for an hour. We did not plan the time. We just talked and walked. It felt easy. Sometimes we walk in silence. That is okay too. Not all walks need talking. Sometimes it is nice to just listen. To the wind. To the birds. To your steps. It feels safe. It feels soft. One Sunday morning, I saw a man with a walking stick. He was slow, but he moved with care. He looked up and said, "Morning." I said, "Good morning." He said, "You're lucky. You walk with ease." I smiled and said, "Yes, I'm thankful for that." That stayed in my heart. Not everyone can walk freely. Some people cannot walk at all. Some people need help. I walk because I can. I walk because my legs work. I do not take that for granted. My mom called last week. She said, "Emma, you sound different." I said, "I feel different." She said, "You sound happy." I said, "I am." Now my walk is not just exercise. It is part of who I am. It is how I start and end my day. It helps me feel whole. It helps me feel safe. It helps me feel strong. People ask, "How did you change?" I say, one step at a time, because it started small. One short walk, one morning, one choice. I didn't plan it. I just needed something. And walking gave me everything. I walk when I feel good. I walk when I feel bad. I walk to see the world. I walk to see myself. And every time I come home feeling better. If you feel sad, walk. If you feel tired, walk. If you feel lost, walk. The road is waiting. Your feet are ready. Just one step. That's all it takes.